Robert McGowan.
Here.
Doug Sprouse. Rodney Wright.
Here.
Danny Baker.
Here.
Tommy Sizemore.
Here.
Jamie Pafford Gresham. AJ Gary.
Here.
Let me try Doug Sprouse or Jamie Pafford Gresham. There's Jamie right there.
There's Jamie.
All right, Jamie Pafford Gresham.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And it looks like Doug Sprouse. All right, Doug Sprouse.
Here.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
All right, thanks, CJ. I guess first on the list is to welcome our new 911 board member. So, Sally, welcome aboard. Any comments you want to make, we'll let you make them, or if whatever you want to say.
No, I'm new to say. I'm learning.
All right, well, we appreciate you being part of the board, and this board has been very active and accomplished a lot of things in the last couple of years, and we've got a lot more to do, but we appreciate you being a part of this group.
For those that are on the call that don't know, Sally joins us from Union County, in El Dorado. So,
all right, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes. This was from the August regular meeting that occurred on August 10th. For the board members, CJ has sent out the minutes in that packet he sent out about a week ago. But if you have not had a chance to look over them, take this opportunity to do so in the appropriate time. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next on the agenda is approval of the financial report. So CJ, I will turn it back to you.
okay. So first, looking at our balance sheets as well as the bank and state treasury account statements through August 31st, 2023, the total assets, liabilities, and equity is $23,976,594.04. $2,136,880.23 sits within the state treasury account. $21,839,713.81 is within the working capital account. Our total expenses for review from August 2023 totals $551,054.79. 3 of those are reimbursement. Craighead County for the $65,728.71. That comes out of the ETS board carry for over 15% fund. Poinsett County for $16,495.95. That's for annual maintenance reimbursement from 2022. And then Saline County for $200,000 for consolidation expense reimbursement. You should have gotten a copy of the quarterly distribution forms, or I guess spreadsheet. And for the second quarter 2023 quarterly distributions, following this meeting, that would be $10,112,235.37 sent out to the local PSAPs. The only other thing, and this, I'll go ahead and cover this now while we're in finances. Robert had asked last month about an update on our LEC accounts that we have that you see in the expenses for the month. I've attached a physical report in there. It's called LEC review status, I believe. And basically I've broken down each account, what those circuits are, and then where they're at. So for Arkansas Telephone Company and Windstream, well, actually, for Windstream, we're still in review and process with them. Arkansas Telephone Company, I got a call this morning. We're cleared to request disconnect on those circuits. There's no traffic live. Van Buren County's been cut to the EZNet, so we're good to get rid of that one. We have a disconnect in process with Cleveland County Telephone, Tri-County Telephone, and Walnut Hill Telephone Companies. And then CenturyTel of Arkansas, CenturyTel of Mountain Home, and Yelcott will have to remain active as those circuits are actively connected to the PSAPs. We originally thought these were all landline circuits because of them being with the local LECs and connected into the PSAP. After really through confirmation of several additional conversations, we came up that these were actually the last mile connectivity circuits from AT&T into the PSAP. So when 911 was set up in Van Buren County, Marion County, Baxter County, AT&T didn't have a way to get directly into the PSAP at that time. So basically they would have set up a connection into a circuit that went into the PSAP, and then the board took on that cost because they're the last mile of the wireless circuit that AT&T had. So as we transfer on to the EZNet, these circuits are going to slowly get shut off. So I'd propose that we do not turn these over to the counties, but we'll go ahead and keep the 3 that we know remain active, need to stay active until they're cut on the EZNet. Windstream, I believe should be disconnected fairly soon, as long as we can get confirmation from them that the circuits are inactive or that there's no traffic on them, because that is with Newton County, and Newton County just cut at the end of August. So we should only have 3 LECs in addition to AT&T even still active after this month. So.
Board, any questions for CJ on the financial report?
The decision to disconnect from those LECs, does that require a board motion, or is that just something that's done on the staff side?
It's just done on the back side because they would actually get disconnects issued by AT&T.
Just curious.
CJ, what was that fund? And I don't remember the title of it, that was carried over from the last board that had $400,000 or $500,000 in it, I think. That was for.
Yes, sir. That's the 15% allocation fund. It'd be under 15% allocation fund under the board documents, under financials. Currently, after cutting the check to Craighead County, that carryover balance is $386,244.17. We have 10 PSAP still have funds available in that account.
Okay. What happens if they never ask for them?
Well, I would expect at some point they will. We're trying to keep them up to, at least now, every time I see a new purchase come in through call handling equipment or something of that nature, I'm making sure they know they have money available. But I guess if they don't ask for it, it still sits there. So it's pre-allocated funds, and we won't let that balance drop below whatever the amount is in that account. What were you going to ask, Bob? You answered. Is that it? Thank you.
Motion to approve financial report?
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second to approve the financial report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Moving on to old business. Arkansas GIS data aggregation for NG 911.
Yes, sir. Board, I'm really pleased to be able to, kind of call your attention to a new milestone that we've reached. No, some of you are familiar with this report. Sally, you may not be, but the first column is the not started column. The second column is our local work pending column, and then EGDMS load pending and complete. And so the progression would be they start in the not started column and then move across and keep moving across. And we now have moved Clay County into the started column. And so we'll now actively have work ongoing in all of 75 counties. And then the other update is in the complete column, Grant County moved over into the complete column. So we're probably going to revise this report. There's no sense in showing you the not started column anymore. I'm happy about that. The other item that just a little bit of an update on is the carriers that were managing the LEX, that were managing the MSAGs, that we were having issues getting access to the MSAG data. And we've made headway with assistance from our colleagues with AT&T and making contact with the right point of contact at those locales so that they could get in gear and we could walk them through what we needed to get done. So those are all in progress now. They're not progressing as quickly as we might like, but we're making headway there. So I hate to say that we're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we can sense that it's there. So anyways, thank you very much. And I'll answer any questions if there's any questions.
Y'all done a lot of good work on that.
Thank you. It's been a big lift.
Shelby, where are we at with the updated new agreement? Because I have not seen anything back from Carol, I don't think. Do you know where we're at? Where we got left off there?
If I am, unless I'm mistaken, I thought that went through review here just the other day.
I thought Bill was thinking it did too, but when you asked that question, I'm thinking,
Yeah, I'm second guessing myself
It
too
never,
now.
it never made its way to me that it was gonna be under review. I mean, I know I went to the one where they did the time extension,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure about since we created the new
so
making new contract.
I am aware that the last review overlapped with special session, and that review was to fall on a Thursday. And General Assembly suspended that review and moved all of the critical, deadline critical contracts for procurement to the full ALC that met on Friday. And it's very possible that they didn't look at that review, and it may be that it got postponed until the October review.
So would it
It's
make
just-
sense to reach out to Carol and ask if she knows if it got?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
If that's in fact what happened, and that may very well have been what happened. I think that actually may be what happened because I sat through that review meeting, and it's a very lengthy meeting where state police was defending its efforts to do the camera systems, the license plate readers. And that took up a great deal of time in that meeting. And so it would be wise for us to reach back to Carol at Public Safety. Because it's probable that it didn't make
Didn't make
it
it,
through the
okay.
review yet.
Hey Shelby, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the map, the conversion status map, and it's got
Yes.
three non-participating. What's the deal with those three?
That's for Fulton, Baxter, and Independence County.
Mhm.
They are counties that prior to the existence of the 911 board, those three counties on their own will went out and procured a EZNet solution on their own. And so because all of those three counties still operate on their own EZNet solution, we have not engaged with them in terms of the full data preparation for loading into NG 911 core services. Their data is actually in pretty good shape already. And so we will have a little bit of work to do with them. But that particular color on the map is just reflective of the fact that we're not at a point where we're even trying to load them into the AT&T public safety EZNet.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Board, any other questions for Shelby? Okay, moving on to the ESInet Next Gen Core Services. Okay.
The newest update on our transition over to EZNet is that we have turned on 71 PSAPs and 5 dispatch centers over to the AT&T ESInet. 43 of those are now sitting in I3. Several of those have actually come from ones that went live on RFAI and then have now been upgraded to I3. So our I3 number has gone up to 43. Our RFAI numbers has actually gone down to 31. And then we have 2 PSAPs that are sitting on CAMA legacy gateway connections due to equipment and GIS data, or I say and or GIS data shortage there. So where we're sitting on population is 2,483,825 is the estimated population covered by PSAPs on EZNet. That's 83.5%. The state's population. We've done AT&T bill reviews with 61 PSAPs. That reflects a savings to local jurisdictions of $109,579, or approximately $1.3 million a year. That $1.3 million a year with the 61 PSAPs puts us at an average of $21,550 per year per PSAP as the savings. Now that's just the savings the PSAPs are seeing from AT&T. In a situation like Lafayette County, where Walnut Hill, we were paying them for a last mile connection into the PSAP. We're able to save a little bit of cost from Walnut Hill by disconnecting those circuits, but Lafayette County also gets to cut off some circuits that they were paying for. So, you know, there's some costs out there. I think they're saving approximately $1,500 a month just on the Walnut Hill cost, not including AT&T. So in some counties, we'll see additional costs that we may not have full view into. I was able to get view into that one because we had a bill from Walnut Hill and we were able to help them get those disconnected and those savings to them. But that's what we're looking at as far as that EZNet and Next Gen Core Services cut.
Any of those EZNet connections in the dispatch centers and any of the AFP troops? I believe I was connected to that earlier this summer.
I can tell you in just a second. You'll give me a minute here. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I want to say that Troop K might be included in that, but let me verify. And what I do want to make clear is that although dispatch centers, when they're connected, the population cost is included in because they're covered by a PSAP on our cost, there is an additional cost for those dispatch centers to be connected to our EZNet that we do not cover. So there is that. So Troop K is one of those. It does not look like, it looks like that's the only state police troop so far. Really, there's only 3 state police troops that have call handling. Well, there's only 2 that have call handling equipment now. I don't think Troop L does anymore. Robert may or may not know. You think they do? Okay. So A, K, and L are the 3 that have call handling equipment. The other 9 troops take transfers over a 10-digit line. So really the only 3 that could be connected would be A, K, and L. A has not been, it doesn't look like yet, unless I'm just not finding it on the quick search. And then I know L hasn't. So, okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, any other questions on the, SINet, Next-Gen Core Services? All right, that, concludes the old business. One comment I want to make, I didn't think about it till you were talking, CJ. Yesterday, actually, it started earlier than that, but we had a workshop with, CISA for the Arkansas Strategic Communication Interoperability Plan, the SCIP. I think I got that right. But it's basically the plan of interoperability communications for the state of Arkansas. We update it every 3 years. CISA comes in, helps facilitate the group, get the input. So we had a lot of really good discussion. I bring it up today because there was a portion of that deal with 911. So CJ, if you can help me remember, I think when we get that draft, when CISA gets that draft together before it's finalized, I think it'd be good if we could get it out to the board, just let y'all look at it. See if you got any comments about it, especially the 911, section on that. But I know when CJ was going over those numbers, he updated a lot of that, that's in that plan. So, anyway, I'll, get that out there. All right, moving on to new business, PSAP consolidation. CJ?
Yeah, this is just more of an update, not necessarily any need of business to that, but I did kind of want to give you guys some updates that we've been given at least over the last couple months. And I've had several conversations, several meetings with multiple counties, whether it be the judges, mayors, sheriffs, and we've got some PSAP to PSAP consolidations that have pursued pretty far. Sally's down there. I'll let her follow any discussion she wants to give on that, but
We're probably don't want to go there.
we won't go there. But Union County is one of those that they have purchased a building. They are in process of getting, I guess, architects and contractors in place to start construction on that facility to consolidate the city of El Dorado and Union County Sheriff's Office together. We've seen some progress being made, or I've heard of some good progress being made up in Washington County, their sheriff's office remodel to be able to fit central EMS and the sheriff's office dispatch together. We've had some conversations. There's Van Buren County. Van Buren County's not really, they weren't one under our, magnifying glass, our scope of PSAP to PSAP consolidation, but they did have a primary PSAP and a dispatch center, one in Fairfield Bay, one in Clinton. They have since consolidated those two into one facility, and they're also trying to wrap up a complete remodel of a facility to move that consolidated center into. I think the only thing that Judge James was telling me they were waiting on was a generator. They were kind of having some issues getting a generator ordered and in place, but so there's several good, conversations and actual happenings going on across the state. We do still have some that have not started the process, and that there's still some hangups going on and issues in these conversations. So we'll try to keep you guys updated on those as best we can as we get a little further into this, here towards the end of the year and where we're at a year in. One that I really wanted to update you guys on is I participated in an intergovernmental meeting last week in Conway County, and their intergovernmental council in Conway County has approved moving forward in discussing, costs and budgets, expenses associated with consolidating with Perry County. So we may have our first potential county to county consolidation if everything falls into place there. I think there's definitely interest on both sides. It's just trying to make everything come together appropriately and make it work right. So that's what we're looking at on the PSAP consolidation update. If you have one specifically in mind that you want to ask about, feel free, ask questions on this, but just want to give you a quick update on that since it's been a while.
Hey, CJ. Rodney. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Quick comment. The money that, as far as the consolidation, and I'm involved pretty heavily in the Saline County consolidation that we're doing, and I'm finding that there's a lot of expenses that are coming up that I mean, I'll just be frank with you, I had no idea. And I think other agencies, Bo and Chief Baker, you're gonna run into all this too. There's gonna be hidden money that comes up or hidden expenses. And I would just like for you, CJ, if going forward into the end of this year, you know, you showed us that we're saving almost $1.5 million with AT&T over the year. I think if I'm saying that right, I guess what I'm saying is we're not in the business to make money, and if we could potentially look at raising what we're giving out to these PSAPs that are combining, I think I'd be in favor of that. I mean, I'm not saying we raise it again to 200,000, but maybe, I mean, look at the money and you tell us, CJ, toward the end of the year, if we have extra money, you know, let's just say 1.5 million, that's another $100,000 to all these PSAPs to help out with the burden that these consolidations are putting on us.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, Sheriff. I think, you know, I do think we have the opportunity to look into what the needs are gonna be because, Celine, you guys may have more expenses than a Faulkner County does. It's in the same facility already, right? So it may not be an equal, you know, everybody's gonna have this much money to have to spend. So we may want to look into that. I do want to clarify though that the money that with the AT&T, the EZNet savings that I'm trying to give you guys every month, that is a savings to the localities.
Okay.
Meaning that those costs are saved by the PSAPs and their bills. We're not seeing those savings as a board. So that not more money is not coming available to us. It means that there's more money being opened up in the local budgets.
Well,
So
if we can just look at our existing money then and going into the end of the year and seeing if we have extra, I think that'd be a good for extra money.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, there's going to be cases where even a couple of these consolidations, we may not use any funding. I mean, if a consolidation doesn't happen, that might open up, you know, they choose to self-fund, we may open up, you know, $200,000 that was already allocated. The only thing I want you guys to think about with that is we can definitely look into that. But, you know, the more money we spend on consolidation, which is fine, the less money we have to do in grants or in other reimbursements to the other 60 counties though that exist. So that's the thing is all that's going to come out of one fund. So just keep that in mind when it comes to upgrading equipment.
Do we have grants already set aside for those jurisdictions that were not under that microscope, that were not a part of that requirement to consolidate? Or is it simply just those that were required for now?
So for right now, it's just the ones that were required. I think there's been some conversation and I'll even say it now. I'd like to come forward when we have some consolidations, whether it's a county to county consolidation or a situation where a dispatch center and PSAP consolidate, even though they may not have been required to, that maybe we can look into helping with some of the costs by reimbursing some stuff. But I think what we did with that original fund was allocate consolidation reimbursement for the PSAPs that were required to, because we're not quite sure, as we're still paying legacy equipment with AT&T and moving into the EZNet. We don't know exactly where we're going to end up on that final monthly expense, cost. And we were trying to make sure we don't dip into that fund until we know exactly what our monthly expenses are going to be moving forward.
So I guess aside from any potential extensions that are asked by some of the jurisdictions, we should know very significantly what that's going to look like by the end of 2024.
Yes.
Next year.
Well, as far as our monthly expenses, we should know that even before then. For the consolidation aspect though, yes. So who's going to use the money, how much they're going to use, we should know by the end of 2024.
Yeah, I think what Rodney's asking, and he's going to correct me when I step out of line, I know it, is for these jurisdictions that have been mandated to do some action.
Right.
If we're able to up the amount of money that we can get to them, if they have a legitimate expense that goes toward consolidation of their operation.
Yes.
Maybe we look at that, and then once that end date passes for these requirements for those jurisdictions, we will look at opening it up to the ones that were not under that microscope. That's just my
Sure.
I agree. I just want to voice my agreement with the sheriff. I've always as long as I've been on this board, have been a strong proponent of providing whatever funding we can for this. An unmandated or unfunded mandate is always hard to swallow. So, and I understand, I understand the constraints and restrictions, but I just want to say that if the money is available and we can do that, I will certainly be supportive of that as well.
Any other conversation or discussion on PSAP consolidation? All right, next on the list is, class training, commission law enforcement, standards and training. And CJ, I'll start this off and kind of jump in, but, we haven't, until a couple of days ago or last week, we met with, Chris Chapman, director over at CLES, Shannon, and, kind of talk about dispatch training. We haven't had a discussion since, Chris has been on board. So we just kind of sat down with them, just visited a little bit about, that basic, telecommunicator training, about having that 40 hours completely online. Because CJ, we're at what percentage roughly of?
I think we were at 70. The average statewide training, I think percentage was 75%. But we had
Some jurisdictions.
Yeah, we had several jurisdictions that weren't meeting the 60%, and then we had several dispatchers that had been employed for over a year that had not been trained.
That figure is of staff, not of PSAPs, right? 75% of staff.
Correct.
Sometimes staffing level does not allow you to send them off.
Right.
And that's where we were kind of having that discussion at. That's tough to do if you got a small PSAP. How are you gonna send somebody to Camden? And they are working or been doing regional training. They're expanding that. That's great. So that people don't have that far to go. But still, for that basic 40 hours, we're just, we think having that online so that PSAP center, hires a telecommunicator before they even sit in the seat, they could do that 40-hour training online. And then that kind of opens up a little more resources for even class to do maybe some advanced stuff, either partially online, partially in person, or in person.
So is that something that's gonna happen, or is that just still in discussion?
They are working on, I was gonna say, I think, very in favor of that. There's a couple of different options, creating their own. AFCO Nina has, that already has that in an online format. Some PSAP centers are doing that themselves online. So yeah, I think there's a lot of interest in doing that. They were checking on something.
Yeah, I think, so from what I understood, they asked for 60 days to kind of go research, whether that, what it would cost, how much time it would take to create their own versus, using a virtual academy or Nina that's already got a 40-hour basic online course that we could potentially procure or go through, some type of I guess, partnership with them. So I figure by, what would that be, November's meeting, we should have a little bit of an update on what route they're gonna wanna go or try to go with that.
Well, that's the problem I have, with the turnover rate you have in dispatch anyway. You get one trained good and they quit and you start over, but I don't have the manpower, to send somebody off for a week.
Yeah.
And replace them. I just don't have.
Well,
Do the best you can, but I.
and my argument with them is that, if our goal here is to offer free training so that they don't have to spend money to send somebody, but, you could send your dispatchers through Nina's 40-hour basic online, so you don't have to send them somewhere, but you're gonna pay $300 to do it. Whereas if we have the ability to make all of our elite online training similar to that and offer it for free, then even the entities that are already spending the money through APCO and Nina or PowerPhone to do online training, if they wanted to adjust and move over to the Alita free online training, then that would save them some training dollars that they could use for other, advanced training or whatever the next steps would be. So
I should know this figure in my head, but I just don't. I was trying to remember, and I know one of you will, but doesn't a small slice of our, the wireless fees or funds go to them already for that purpose? I've forgotten the dollar figure.
250,000 a year.
Yeah, okay.
And that started
Well, the increase to 250 started in the 2019 legislation. So I guess it would have started, 2020 was when the first increase would have taken place. I don't know what the amount was before that, but I mean,
It was increased in that.
it was
public
inflation.
safety.
Now, I don't know what that's gonna cost. I mean, it could be, to try to have an online platform available for 350 telecommunicators a year to train. I mean, that's a guesstimate of what our turnover, under, I guess, trained number might be, but if it's 350 to 500 dispatchers going through that a year plus the turnover, I mean, it could be a lot of money. So, depending on what they come back with, and there may be an opportunity that it still might be something that we need to look at of whether we want to pull additional funds out to help with that.
Was their strategy to do a scheduled and instructor led online, or were they pursuing a strategy of on demand where it's already content's already built, it's completely recorded, and it's just available on demand so that somebody can take it anytime they want it? Do you know which?
Our proposal and then kind of our understanding is more of the on-demand type.
Which would
training.
allow you then to have people train whenever it's convenient for them.
Yeah, 'cause everybody's bringing people on board at different days and, it's kind of like, we didn't put an officer on the street till we went through the academy and got the basic training. I think it'd be great to get that way with our dispatchers. You hire them, you run them through the orientation to bring them, to onboard them to the organization and put them through that, that class within at least, somewhere the first week or so anyway. But we could get, with doing it online, I know the law says statute, they're supposed to have certain percentage.
60% of their staff is supposed to be trained and then 100% over a year. So
60% of that basic 40 hours.
Right.
So that would absolutely allow some of those that have the smaller staff to maybe set that new person aside at a computer and 40 hours, that's a shift.
We get a lot closer to that 100% trained, if we had the online for the 40 hours. And then, again, there's still additional training that I think they need that we can do. And some of that may be instructor led or in person, but,
and they did say that they would like to keep an in-person option back to the regionalization so that wouldn't go away completely, but this would just be another tool in the belt.
Yeah.
so it'll be an option for the centers.
If we're gonna require consolidation within the 911 centers, we also have to look at what's going on out of that center as well, which is the dispatching element. And maybe some of that, once we get past this first hurdle, can be your basic fire dispatching and your law enforcement dispatching as well.
Well, ultimately, and I think at some point, it may be through legislation, but I think even the dispatchers should be required to go through the 40-hour training.
I agree. If it's required,
Pretty much every.
then the powers that be, when it's not an option.
Yeah.
It has to be done. Now it's financial.
Right.
A lot of that's your same people.
It is.
Flex. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Well, so, is there an action item that the board needs to take or anything, or it's just
No.
informational?
Just informational right now.
Okay.
Like I said, when we get that additional information back to them, back from them, we may have more discussions on it, but, yeah, there's no action for the board to take right now. But again, it was a very good conversation. Chris is doing a great job over there, and they're dedicated to getting our telecommunicators trained. And so, that was really good. All right, or any other new business? Any discussion from the floor?
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Joanna Green with Little Rock. Quick question about the training. I know you all mentioned APCO and NINA for that basic 40-hour course. We have recently implemented priority dispatch. Is that an acceptable?
Joanna, when you say priority, are you talking about IAED?
Yes, yes.
Then yes, that's completely acceptable. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have not implemented the basic course. We've still been using the APCO basic course, but I would like to transition to that IAED basic course. And also, just to put it out there, as we are continuing to grow in Little Rock, we do have staff members that are instructor certified, and so we are also looking to certify our training team to be instructors in that IAED basic course as well. And so we're always willing to help any other center who needs training to get those individuals or those employees certified as well in those basic courses if they're nearby. You know, that's just one of the goals that we're striving for here in Little Rock to be I guess considered as a regional training center, you know, as we continue to grow as well. So I just wanted to put that out there and wanted to know to make sure that that is an acceptable basic telecommunicator course.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and Robert just made a comment too that Benton County uses that. I think almost all the PSAPs in Benton County use that in Northwest Arkansas. So absolutely. Thanks. Good question.
Thank you for the offer for the training too.
Yes. Joanna, do you know off the top of your head, once your people are certified to instruct that course, is there additional cost through IAED to teach that in-house that it would cost other people to come in and take it? Or is that once you've kind of done it, you're the instructor, you can kind of host those courses? Yes.
So my knowledge in working with IAED in the past with my previous center, we can list ourselves as a host for the course, and once you're certified as an instructor, you pretty much you can pretty much charge what you want for the course. Just I guess you want to make sure you provide the tools they need. So if you're buying manuals, you might want to recoup your costs on your manuals or, you know, something to that nature. It is not, you know, as you all stated earlier, we're not in the business of quote unquote making money, but we would like to replenish our funds if we had to spend the money on buying course manuals or, you know, things of that nature. But also if it's something that you all doing, like you all are talking about providing those APCO and NINA courses online, you know, there are online courses with IAED as well. So if that's something that you all can add to your lineup, if you're if those in those smaller centers that they can't send anyone, but again, you're paying that full cost um, to those vendors for those courses. But pretty much you can charge what you want once you're a certified instructor.
Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, all of after classes or certifications expire where the other ones don't. So that might be a consideration if we could.
Oh, one last thing, CJ. Another thing we're exploring here that I've suggested to explore. We teach those basic courses, of course, on at the beginning of the employment. So once we start a new hire academy, you know, we provide that's pretty much the basis of the academy to have that in the beginning, and then we just build on that throughout those 6 weeks in the academy. So that way we ensure that they have that on the front end. What I'm proposing to my executive administration is since this will provide a 2-year certification, and they come on, and if anything happens where they no longer choose to be with the agency, that we can again recoup those funds if they stay less than 2 years, or try to get a 2-year commitment from them on the front, at least a 2-year commitment on the front end, and hopefully that will ultimately help us with retention later on. So that's what I'm working on, again, here in Little Rock. So I don't know if that can be helpful to any other agencies that are spending those full costs to train those individuals. And we talk about turnover a lot. So at the bare minimum, we could at least attempt to recoup those funds, or some portion or percentage of those funds, depending on how long that employee stays within those first 2 years.
Good info. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion or comments? Our next meeting date is 1 p.m. on Thursday, October 19th, 2023. CJ, do you have anything else?
Do not. Are we all good with the date and location back here? I know you had GIS conference that same week. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Arkansas APCO and NENA conference is the week following that. Yeah, it's the 22nd through the 25th, I believe. Just as a heads up.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, thanks everyone.
Well, take care.
Recording stopped.
Thank you all.